Okay, thank you. About the first question, ecosystem service plan aims to implement active and passive ecological restoration process without including rehabilitation, recovery, or restoration model, of agricultural production system in accordance with set out in the National Restoration Plan. The Ministry of the Environment and Sustainable Development is promoting the implementation of programs with different public and private entities and organizations that are carrying out action within the framework of the fulfillment of this goal. Additionally, the different environmental authorities through the country report the activities they carry out in their territories according to their missionality. On the other hand, the different productive sectors within their portfolio of climate change mitigation measures have been implementing ecological restoration processes that contribute to the fulfillment of the goal. And for the fourth question, we need to, could you please repeat Switzerland, the question, please?
I call Switzerland, number 69. But I think we will ask Switzerland to send their question by email later on, because it looks like the delegate is not here now at the moment. Okay. With that, I will open the floor now for the following delegations. First, United Kingdom, number 23.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Colombia, for your presentation. We read in your report that you are intending to set up carbon budgets for 2023 to 2030, which should be prepared by the end of this year. What opportunities and challenges have you experienced in doing this? And what lessons learned can you share with other countries who are looking to set up carbon budgets of their own? Thank you.
Thank you, United Kingdom. Now I recognize the Netherlands, number 24.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Colombia, for your presentation. We would also like to congratulate you for your third BUR. This question might link to the previous question from India on removals. In your presentation, you show the development of greenhouse gas emissions and removals, and in the time series, removals from the AFOLU sector increased over time. Could you perhaps share some more information on the main reasons for this increase in removals? Thank you.
Thank you, Netherlands. Now I recognize the European Union, number 85.
Thank you, Chair. Colombia, congratulations on your third biannual update report. We'd like to thank you for the extensive replies that you've supplied to our questions that we've provided in written. And we would also like to thank you for the excellent presentation today and your statement where you depicted all the climate change national information system and the low carbon strategy put in place by the national authorities to combat climate change. We saw in your presentation that Colombia has implemented a national carbon tax. Could you please share with us the challenges Colombia faced with implementing this regulation and how it is contributing to greenhouse gas emission reductions? Thank you.
Thank you, European Union. And the last on this round of questions is Canada. I recognize Canada, number 36.
Thank you for the presentation, Colombia, and congratulations on your third BUR. Regarding the slide on CDM projects in your presentation, can you please clarify the information presented on the transportation sector and any potential lessons learned? On the slide, we see that there were 5 registered projects, but it seems that there were no CERs. Thank you.
Thank you, Canada. Now we'll give a brief moment to Colombia to prepare their answers. Okay, please give the mic to number 90. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We want, could be possible to clarify from the European Union in which sector you are asking about the challenges implementing mitigation actions?
Please give the mic to number 85, European Union.
Thank you. Sorry. Yes, in the presentation you spoke about the national carbon tax. And so I wanted you to share with us the challenges you faced in implementing this and also how it is contributing to greenhouse gas emission reduction. Thank you.
Please give the mic to number 90.
Thank you. We will discuss the answers and start shortly.
Okay, Colombia.
Ah, sí, acá está. Listo. Pero entonces le decimos a Sandra que le responda el carbon tax. Que responda a tres. O si quieres. Acá. Porque tenemos, mira, el carbon tax, las entidades, qué gases incluye y cuánta plata hemos recogido y cuánto hemos neutralizado.
Okay, entonces,
¿Te parece?
Carbon National, the entities that are in charge are the Ministry of Environment, the greenhouse
Esta es la
gas
que le pedimos
emissions that we have reduced are CO2, NTO, and CH4. ¿Este es CH4? Así.
CH4, sí. ¿Te parece?
NTO.
Igual ahorita.
Espera.
Ahí vamos. Espérame. Listo. Ya le avisamos a todos, ¿cierto?
Thank you. Okay? Okay. For the second question, someone of my delegation will answer it. He is connected. Please, Felipe, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me? Could you confirm my audio? Yeah? Okay. Okay, good morning in Dubai from Colombia. I will respond the question of Netherlands. And as you can see in the trend for 1990 to 2018, the affordable sector is the main sector in Colombia for 2018. Is like 60%. In this way, the main reason for the increase the greenhouse gases in inventory from for the follow sector is for two category. Mainly is entail fermentation and deforestation. The last one, the main reason is the high rates of deforestation in Colombia. We are talking about around more or less 180,000 hectares per year, and is the reason for this. Mainly is a key category in Colombia. The change from forestry to pasture, from forestry to croplands and wetlands and other land use. Thank you.
'89, please.
Thank you, Felipe. And for the UK and Canada's question, Sandra Granados. Sandra, please.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, UK, for the question about carbon budget. The main challenge in the construction of the carbon budgets for 23 to 2030 has been the constructions of the budget at sectoral scale. This budget constructions based on the distribution of GHG emissions, and this process requires approval. And the main opportunity has been precisely in the articulation from the national government with the different sectors to approve our carbon budget. Thank you.
Please give the mic to '89.
Okay, thank you. For the United States question, Alejandro is going to. 90, please.
Mic 90, please.
You can hear? Oh, yes. Thank you for the European Union about this question. For the tax that we have. So as effectively as you mentioned, it has been like a good incentive just to reduce the greenhouse gas emission from the private sector. And well, the most benefits about this has been the energy sector, where we have 24 registered projects, and in second place has been for the forestry. And also just to mention, the two entities that are in charge of these incentives are the Ministry of Environment and other organized that is called DIAN in Colombia. So we have two entities that are working on these mechanisms. And finally, we have been able just to collect 1.6 billion of Colombian pesos by this tax. That's one of the mechanisms that can help us just to engage with the private sector. And finally, we have been able just to neutralize 104.7 million of CO2 tons.
Mic 90, please.
Thank you. We have some written questions from Switzerland, but could we clarify, because we don't know if they are talking about mitigation actions or national policies. Should I read the questions?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So the first one is, could Colombia explain the steps it has taken to implement and promote participation of non-governmental entities at the regional level? The second one is, what have been the successes and challenges and lessons learned along the way? Third, how is the information resulting from third-party participation at the regional level processed? And are the criteria for further consideration? But it is too general, so we appreciate if you can clarify or detail at which mitigation or adaptation or national climate change policy it could be answered.
Thank you, Colombia. In that regard, we will follow with Switzerland later on and then ask them to send you directly the questions and the clarifications. Now, Mike 88, please.
Yep. Okay. For response the Canada questions, please connect with Sandra Granados with its summit online.
Please connect to Sandra Granados. She's online. Thanks. Mike 90, please.
Thank you. To support my colleague Sandra, who is online and has some connection problems. In Colombia, yes, we have the 69 projects we presented that are registered under the CDM, CDM from the Kyoto Protocol. In Colombia, we have a lot of experiences in implementing CDM projects, and we are one of the second or third place in Latin America implementing CDM projects. In the transport sector, we have a lot of lessons learned from the implementation of transport sector methodologies under the CDM. We have some methodologies proposed and approved by the CDM based on the Colombian transportation projects. And we also have the local experience in implementing transport activities to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, because from the CDM we could implement projects for BRT systems, bus rapid transit systems. So it was a great experience on how we can introduce greener technologies, and also the opportunity to have better technologies, but also other kind of transport modes in the country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Before I give the floor to the next round of parties, I just want to let all our virtual participants that they should unmute and speak when a delegate from the floor announces his or her names, okay? So with that now, I will recognize the United States, number 29.
Thank you, Chair. First, we'd like to commend Colombia on their submission of their third BUR. In that BUR, Colombia has reported a time series for 1990 to 2018. We commend these efforts to extend and recalculate the time series consistent with good practices and including information on impacts of recalculations in its latest submission. We had just several questions related to that. First, does Colombia have any lessons learned from implementing and reporting on these recalculations? Does Colombia have plans to include more recent years in the time series? And what are the challenges to reporting an X2 time series? Are there specific capacity building needs that may facilitate addressing any of these challenges?
Thank you, United States. I recognize now Sudan, number 71.
Thank you, Chair. Let me first congratulate Colombia for submission of their third BUR and for the informative presentation as well. I had two questions. The first one, did Colombia submit in its BUR a technical annex their activities on the RED Plus in the context of result-based payment? I'm aware that Colombia is one of the RED Plus countries and their forest reference emission level was submitted and technically assessed by the UNFCCC. The second question, what plans have been put in place to improve the national GHG inventory? I'm very much interested to hear about that. I thank you.
Thank you, Sudan. And I recognize now Sweden, number 26.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations, Colombia, on your third BUR, and thank you very much for the very informative presentation. In your presentation, you laid out Colombia's comprehensive climate change national information system. Could you please share some lessons learned from the introduction of this information system? Thank you.
Thank you, Sweden. And last on my list, I have Republic of Korea, number 75.
Thank you, Chair. I also would like to congratulate Colombia on the submission of this third biennial update report. I am particularly impressed with the country's efforts to promote a variety of energy policies. In your presentation, you mentioned that Colombia has implemented a variety of CDM projects, including many in the energy and waste sectors. Could you share some more information about specific projects in these two areas? Thank you.
Thank you, Republic of Korea. Now we'll give a moment to Colombia to prepare their answers. Thanks.
Pero quien la hizo, United States.
La podemos contestar acá. Que fue la de...
Buenas prácticas para el cálculo de la serie temporal.
Del cálculo.
La segunda.
La segunda es como la experiencia en el...
Sudán.
En el anexo de Red Plus. Ese es un poco más difícil. Y planes de mejoramiento del inventario. La de Red Plus pidamos que
no la aclare
por escrito, que la mandamos por escrito porque hoy acá no están las personas. Pero Félix sí que responda la de plan de mejoramiento del inventario. Acá hay una de lecciones aprendidas del sistema de información. Me toca buscarla, yo la respondo. Y otra de la de Corea en proyectos MDL de energía y residuos. Más información, pero pues podríamos dar algo general y decimos que les mandamos más por escrito.
Listo. Excuse me. Okay, we're ready. So, for the United States and Sudan questions, I pass the answer to Felipe, who is online. Felipe, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you for the floor. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the floor. For the first one from USA question, as the speaker said, we have a trend actually in the third board from 1990 to 2080. The main challenge of Colombia was migrate all the second assessment report to the fifth assessment report, yeah? And the main challenge was explained to the national stakeholder this change, yeah? Because, for example, for methane, we reduce for GWP change is increased at 30%. Is is increased, yeah, 30%, and global warming potential of nitrous oxide reduced 25%. I think that the main challenge was this update for the stakeholder. Okay. And for the Sudan question, I remember it's the Red Plus experience and lesson learned. We would like explain more for email, but we have in Colombia the forest and carbon monitoring system. This improve for this improved plan. This team have 1,000 of algorithms to reduce uncertainties, yeah? And actually the country is working on that, but we would like explain more after in the time. Thank you.
Mic number 89.
Thank you. And I pass the answer to Laura for Sweden and Korea questions.
Mic number 90.
Thank you very much. About the National Climate Change Information System, Colombia, we have learned that it is vital to have institutional arrangements in place once we start the design of platforms, or also to allow the development of regulation, and the exchange of information. So that's why in Colombia we have our national climate change system, and also committee which is in head of IDEAM to exchange information and ensure the flow of the information between entities, not only about the greenhouse gas emissions, but also about adaptation information and also mitigation actions. That's a very important institutional arrangement we have in Colombia, but it is very important to have all the participation from the institutions at the national and regional and local level in this institutional arrangement. Additionally, we are working on the development of regulation to ensure the responsibilities and the role of the different data providers, but also data verification institutions, which can help with the information in climate change, because we believe that with the new enhancing transparency framework for the Paris Agreement, we need to ensure the quality of the information, but also the periodic presentation of the information. So that's one of the most important lessons learned. In terms of the technologies and capacity building and technical capacity of the staff, we have been working with several cooperation and international cooperation projects from different countries, which can support and have supported the trainings on the understanding of methodologies for the calculation of greenhouse gas emissions, of implementation of IPCC methodologies, also how to create indicators of mitigation actions, and all that information and inputs and processes we have to implement in accounting, in a greenhouse gas inventory, but also in the emissions reductions projects information. So we are working with different cooperation, but also at the national level to ensure that staff and our we have human capacities around the information we need to present in our national climate change system. In terms of the other, the question from Korea about the CDM energy and waste projects, we can send further information after this session about detail on which projects have been implemented. We know that in the energy, the project activities that have been implemented under the CDM are small hydropower projects, some energy efficiency in industry projects, and in the waste sector, the landfill biogas projects have participated also from Colombia. So we can give more information to Korea about the potentials and all the information which is registered in the CDM platform from the UNFCCC. Thank you.
Thank you, Colombia. And thank you, delegates, for the questions. Please join me in a round of applause for this excellent presentation. Gracias, Colombia. And now to continue, I would like to invite Eritrea to make a short statement. It will be delivered by Mr. Kibrom Asmeron Welde Gabriel, Director General of the Department of Environment. Mr. Welde Gabriel, you have the floor. Number 13.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, we'd like to thank SBI Secretariat for organizing this important workshop. Eritrea submitted its first first biennial update report in January 2021, and it's mainly comprised of national circumstance, institutional arrangement, GHG inventory, mitigation, institutional arrangement, measures undertaken to mitigate climate change and their effect, constraints and gaps, relevant financial, technical, and capacity needs, as well as support received. When it comes to the approach pursued for the preparation of the document, we primarily relied on local expertise and the expertise from the Minister of Land, Water and Environment, Agriculture, Energy and Mines, Transport and Communication, Trade and Industry, Marine Research, as well as the Forestry and Wildlife Authority took part actively. This report and other studies confirm that Eritrea is faced with climate change induced problems, to say the least, recurrent drought, unpredictable patterns of rainfall, depletion of water resource, crop failure, as well as emergence of climate-sensitive diseases, among others. Despite its insignificant GHG emission contribution, Eritrea is among the most vulnerable countries to the effects of climate change. As a country with least GHG emission, Eritrea gives greater prominence to the implementation of climate change adaptation activities. Nevertheless, since the submission of its first biennial update report, my country has been undertaking encouraging efforts in climate change mitigation effort, including the expansion of renewable energy, distribution of energy efficient services to communities, as well as massive afforestation and reforestation programs. On the other hand, in collaboration with the UNF Secretariat, training on 2006 IPCC guidelines for GHG inventory has been provided. In this training, 14 experts emanated from various institutions participated, and 6 of them have already received their certificate. I believe this will put us in a better position in understanding the overall methodology for the preparation of good quality reports Moreover, with the objective of producing more accurate estimate of emissions in the transport sector, work is underway to set a national emission factor for road vehicles. Lastly, to transit to enhanced transparency framework effectively, Eritrea, in cooperation with COMESA and Conservation International, is initiating a regional CBIT project. Before I conclude my speech, allow me to thank all who have contributed in the process and provide their valuable inputs. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wade Gabriel. Now I would like to invite the Secretariat to broadcast the pre-recorded presentation from Eritrea, which will be delivered by Luan Hailu from the Department of Environment, Ministry of Land, Water and Environment of Eritrea. Secretariat, please play the video.
Good day to you all. Before I start my presentation, I would like to convey my gratitude to be part of the facilitative sharing of views among parties, and I would be honored to give a brief presentation concerning the BUR on behalf of my country. So my presentation outlines the following. So the first part of the presentation, national context. So under its commitment as an Annex 1 party of the UNFCCC, Eritrea prepared 3 national communications. An initial national communication in December 2001, second national communication in February 2012, and the third national communication in December 2021. And Eritrea also submitted its first final update report in December 2021. So the responsible and the main body for coordinating and articulating national climate action in Eritrea is the Ministry of Land, Water and Environment. And then under the ministry, the Department of Environment is responsible for coordinating and implementing climate change activities. And recently it has planned and started 1. Revising the National Determined Contribution, the NDC, 2. Technology Needs Assessment, TNA, and 3rd, the National Adaptation Plan, NAP. All documents are prepared by active involvement of key stakeholders and different ministries of agriculture, health, marine, resources, energy and mines, transport and communication, trade and industry, and local government. Our current institutional arrangement for the first BUR report looks like this. So in the planned current institutional arrangement, there is sharing of responsibilities with regard to the quality control, evaluation, validation process. And the Ministry of Land, Water and Environment, as an implementing governmental institution, approves action plans, ensure the disbursement of budget, and undertake follow-ups and monitoring activities through implementation plan. The ministry also apprises funding opportunities for climate change mitigation and adaptation, and disseminates the modalities and guidelines for funding requests from partners institutions to enable them to understand the project implementation modalities. The proposed MRV system looks like this, and updating the existing institutional arrangements, the Department of Environment proposed to set the MRV system of mitigation action to coordinate and follow the implementation of the strategies and projects to achieve the goals of the NDC. Secondly, we go to the GHG inventory. The greenhouse gas inventory covers 4 sectors: the energy sector, the IPPU sector, AFLU sector, and the waste sector. So to develop the National Greenhouse Gas Inventory, the 2006 IPCC guidelines using Tier 1 methodology was applied, and the national activity data were collected using questionnaire and data survey for energy, IPPU, AFLU, and the waste sector. So based on the first final update report, aggregate overall GHG emission, excluding emission from the biomass in Eritrea in 2018, is estimated to be 3,992.20 gigagram carbon dioxide equivalent. And the sectoral GHG emission gigagram carbon dioxide equivalent of this total are: the energy, we have like 783.43. In the IPPU, we have 190.56. In the AFLU, we have 2,985.15. And in the waste sector, we have like 32.07. It also estimates the GHG emission from the multilateral operations of biomass based on the revised 2006 IPCC software. And the result of the emission were 2,404.52 gigagram carbon dioxide equivalent. Therefore, overall net GHG emission in Eritrea in 2018 is 6,396.72 gigagram carbon dioxide equivalent. Here, taking 2015 as a base year for the 2018 inventory year, all aggregate GHG emission by gas from different sectors increased. This clearly indicates that there is dire need for concerted national effort to reduce GHG emission. In 2018 inventory year, CH4 emission was studied to be the highest, and emission is mainly from enteric fermentation in the livestock subsector, and some of the energy activities also. So the CH4 and the N2O emissions came from livestock, energy activities, and solid waste disposals. The trends of the GHG emission is displayed in this PowerPoint, and the trend of the GHG emission for all sectors from base year of the third national communication inventory year is slightly increased for most sectors. And when we see the sharing of the GHG emission by sector, in 2018, the AFLU sector was the highest contributor of the GHG emission, which accounted for 74.77%, followed by the energy sector, 19.62%, as shown in the figure, and the least was the waste sector. Improvement on reporting GHGI. Taking into account the documents we have prepared from the initial national communication to the first biennial update, we have improved our reporting skills on GHG inventory. At this time, we have increased the number of experts trained on GHGI. We used and practiced the 2006 IPCC softwares for more accurate GHGI, and we also use disaggregated data for GHG inventory. The third part of the presentation is mitigation actions and effects. So our national context for mitigation action looks like this. So the government of Eritrea is committed to reduce the carbon dioxide emission from fossil fuels by 12.0% by 2030, compared to the projected business as usual of the reverse year 2010. If additional support is received, it can further be reduced by 38.5% by the year 2030. The core benefits of this mitigation action is environmental and socio-economical benefits. Okay, improvement in reporting mitigation action and effects. Based on the constraints and gaps encountered during the presentation of the national inventory, a list of inventory improvement plans are proposed. 2, 1, develop network communication with national institutions. 2, propose to establish national domestic MRV system. 3, strengthen the technical experts on the use of mitigation analysis of tools and models. And when we go to the fourth part of the presentation, it explains about the different mitigation actions and results to be achieved. So the total impact estimated GHG emission reduction over a given period of time of 2020 up to 2030 is 306.3 kiloton carbon dioxide. So when we use different mitigation actions like using renewable energy, we will reduce the carbon dioxide emission by a total of 113 kilotons. And if we use energy efficient actions, we will reduce the carbon dioxide emission by a total of 49.7 kilotons. And in transportation, we will reduce around 2.6 kiloton carbon dioxide, and in the AFLU or forestry, we will reduce the carbon dioxide emission by a total of 117.6 kilotons. And the different mitigation actions are displayed here, as you can see. So the other part of the mitigation, the other part of the presentation is the barriers we faced. So the team of technical experts identified 15 capacity building needs during the first final update report review process, covering GHG inventory, mitigation action, needs and supports received. So the constraints on the GHG inventory are lack of national emission factors to transform from tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3, limited capacity on the estimated of CH4 and N2O emission from biomass, inappropriate national land use classification, limited capacity for knowledge management and archiving system, limited national capacity to prepare for and implement the requirement of the ETF. Constraints on mitigation action, limited capacity on mainstreaming of climate-specific mitigation actions into national development priorities and planning, limited capacity on the use of mitigation analysis tools and models, inadequate data recording system for tracking mitigation actions, and constraints on the support received and needed, limited capacity on identifying and archiving the support received and need as financial, technical, and technology transfer, and limited capacity to identify technology transfer needs, and limited technology experts for mobilizing and managing financial resources for climate change activities. So when we go to the third part is the support received and the support needed. So the support we received is, as you can see up in the PowerPoint. So as a developing country, Eritrea is vulnerable to climate change. And most of the climate change related hazards are beyond the reach and capacity of the country and requires financial support to cope up using adaptation plans. So the financial support received in mitigation, adaptation, climate change reports, and capacity building are here. And the financial support we need is displayed here too. So you can see the difference is huge. So that's how much support we need. Okay, when we go to the last presentation, we have the Enhanced Transparency Framework transition and implementation. So one is initiating the establishment of MRV system at national level to collect data regularly and report to the Department of Environment. Technical experts train on GHG inventory of the 2006 IPCC guidelines for each category. And the third part is technical expert trained on NC, BUR, BR review, and undertaking training for BTR review. And the last part is commencement of regional CBIT projects. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And now, again, I would like to open the floor for questions from parties. I remind parties to please raise your flag and press the button in front of you and to speak close to this mic and as slow as possible. To ensure effective time management of these sessions, also please be brief in the questions and Eritrea with your answers. I call first India, number 50. India, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to Eritrea for giving the presentation. I would like
India, could you speak closer to the mic? Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you to Eritrea for giving the presentation. I would like to congratulate you for the first BUR. I would like to understand the current policies you have in the energy sector, which has led to the negative emissions from 2015 to 2018. You have explained the future projects up till 2030. So we would be happy to learn from your experience. So could you elaborate on this? Secondly, I would like to also know what are the measures which you have planned for reducing the emissions from the FLU sector, which is the most prominent sector in terms of the emissions from your country. Once again, congratulations for submitting the first biennial update report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, India. I now recognize the European Union, number 86.
Thank you, Chair. And congratulations, Eritrea, on your first BUR, also for answering our written questions, and also for your presentation here today. We have just one question for you. In the summary report of the technical analysis of your first BUR, you report a capacity building need, which is related to updates of activity data in the greenhouse gas inventory. Now thinking of the future reporting under the Paris Agreement, can you explain how the process of collecting and updating activity data to report or to estimate emissions and removals could be improved in Eritrea? Thank you.
Thank you, European Union. I recognize now the Netherlands, number 24.
Thank you, Chair. We would also like to congratulate Eritrea for its first BUR. According to Eritrea's first BUR, the improvement of cooking stoves will be delivering important CO2 emission reductions. Could you provide some brief information on the current status of this mitigation action? Thank you.
Thank you, Netherlands. And the last on the first round of interventions will be Sweden, number 26.
Thank you, Chair. And we would also like to congratulate Eritrea for the first BUR. In your presentation, you showed the current institutional arrangement for BUR preparation and the proposed future MRV system. So my question is, are there any lessons learned from the current institutional arrangements which will be useful for the implementation of the future system? Thank you.
Thank you, Sweden. We'll give a moment now to Eritrea to prepare their answers. Please, mic number 12.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Regarding our policy to emission reduction, as has been indicated in the statement, we're one of the least emitters. Still, whatever we have also, we need to improve the efficiency of our energy production system. And the plan is to retire old and inefficient power plants, invest in new ones to replace them, as well as go for renewable energy plants. Secondly, the household is mainly reliant, the majority, on biomass for domestic energy requirements, and improvement of these traditional stoves makes a lot of difference, and we have good experience in that. Among the efficiency between the traditional and the improved stoves is great, so we go for that, and we are working on this. And in the transportation sector, by law, for example, in our area, particularly in the East Africa, and mainly importation of second-hand cars and trucks is usual, and by law, we have prohibited importation of cars which are older than 3 years after production. This may, of course, the better would have been to allow only new ones, but for the harsh realities of the economy, we may import used cars, and they should not be very old. This will improve in efficiency, the efficiency of the end distribution system, and the transmission system requires improvement because the system loss is also great. And these are the areas we are focusing.
Mic number 10, please.
Okay, thank you. In the AFLU, the strategy or the policy we have to reduce emission from the AFLU is in the agriculture, The policy we have is to intensification of the livestock we have. As you might know, traditionally people likes to have more livestock, but although they are not productive. So to shift to this, the strategy we have planned is to be more intensify the livestock we have. In line with that, we're also promoting this using of this waste of animals for composting that improves the soil fertility. And as we know, if the soil is fertile, it's a kind of, it can hold the carbon or can be a carbon stock. So this is the activities in the agriculture sector. And also, as my minister said, we use a lot of biomass for cooking. So we are introducing this and promoting this, the stoves, which can reduce more than 50% of using this biofuel. So we are promoting also this. In the forestry, also we are doing these tree planting activities. We have a very good program in tree planting, and there is a national greening campaign. All the students in summer, they participate in tree planting and tree planting activities, and all the communities, especially in the villages, participate in tree planting. But one thing to say, tree planting is not only done in our areas, because it is a very drought-prone area. We have to construct the structural measures of the soil and water conservation activities. So it is not easy to plant tree without constructing this soil and water conservation like terraces. And a lot has been done, and it's remarkable achievements have been achieved in reducing this carbon and sequestration carbon through the afforestation program. Thank you.
Mic number 13.
And in relation to the question from EU, with regard to the collection of information and data, yes, I mean, it was clearly indicated that we had a gap in the preparation of the BR, but it was included in the improvement plan. And we have already started the establishment of an information management system within the Ministry of Land, Water and Environment. And as you can see from the institutional arrangement that we have shown, we have key stakeholders where we can get this information. And we are trying also to replicate this new information system within these line ministries. And we believe this assists us in getting a very reliable information and data on the coming preparation of similar reports. I think that could answer your question. Thank you.
Mic number 13 again, please.
With regard to the question from Australia concerning the Sweden, excuse me, institutional arrangement. Yeah, I mean, we had an existing institutional arrangement, but we tried to revise it to include institutions that were not part of the arrangement. Although I wouldn't say, I mean, tell the experience with that new, because we are yet to test it, because I mean, in the presentation that we have and in the statement that we provided, we are, getting the training, the capacity building before, to effectively implement this arrangement. But we believe, because it has been, introduce it in consultation with all the stakeholders, we believe it will be, effective in terms of implementing this project preparations and even implementation on ground. Sorry, and the question from the Netherlands regarding the status of the the energy efficient stoves. I think I have tried to touch on my statement that since to the submission of the first ban of this report, we have distributed just within a year about 14,000 energy stoves to communities. And totally, we have already reached about 188,000 energy stoves distributed to communities, specifically to the rural areas. And we believe, these energy stoves improve the efficiency of fuel by 50%, I think. So this is a better approach for us, to reduce emission and as well as, reduce indoor pollution, particularly in the rural communities.
Mic number 14, please.
Yeah, regarding the energy efficiency stoves, the stoves has improved from 8 to 10% of the traditional stove to 26, 28%. So this has a per capita reduction of single stove 600 kg per year per stove. And the stove had a lifetime of 10 to 15 years. So the reduction is tremendous. Thank you.
Thank you, Eritrea. Now I will call the next on my list, the United States, number 29. United States, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. First, we'd like to commend Eritrea on the submission of their first BUR. And we would like to ask if you could please share additional details about the specific plans and initiatives aimed at diversifying electricity generation through wind, solar, and geothermal energy sources. Your forward-thinking approach is commendable, and we look forward to hearing more about your progress in this regard.
Thank you, United States. I recognize now Czechia, number 34.
Thank you, Chair. We would also like to congratulate Eritrea for its first BUR. In its first BUR, Eritrea provides information on capacity building support received for monitoring and reporting. Could you briefly elaborate on a capacity building activity which was particularly useful? Thank you.
Thank you, Czechia. Now I recognize South Africa, number 32.
Thank you, Chair. And South Africa also congratulates Eritrea on their first BUR. We just wanted to find out from Eritrea how it was for them to go through their first technical analysis. How did they find that entire process? And also if they could share more light on their CBIT project. I realized that it's at the regional level. Thank you.
Thank you, South Africa. Now I recognize Australia, number 67, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Like others, Australia also congratulates Eritrea on the submission of its first BUR. Given recent progress with the adoption of renewable energy, how does Eritrea plan to further accelerate the uptake of solar PV and wind technologies going forwards? That's my first question. And my second question is, can Eritrea comment on any policies or measures or plans to reduce losses from transmission and distribution in the national energy grid? Thank you.
Thank you, Australia. Now we'll give a moment for Eritrea to prepare the answers. Mic number 12, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, in as much as we intend to tackle our energy poverty, I think it's imperative to improve the efficiency of the system we have. In the electricity sector, the system loss goes up to 23. And as I said, it starts in the production, transmission, and distribution, and consumption. So in all these segments, we have to improve the efficiency. To start with, retire all power generation plants, which are totally reliant on thermal energy system, production, and distribution and transmission systems have to be improved. Important is also to see to it that the energy mix is sane, meaning go for renewable energy. And this requires a large or big investment, but promote standalone solar energy power plants in the countryside. It works. We have seen it for ourselves, and we'll be very appreciative for development partners who will assist us in implementing this program. And households, if they can solve their energy requirements by installing solar panels on the roof, this will also encourage it, and we think this has to be exempted from all types of taxation to encourage. But we have a problem here. Some of the batteries, when they come, they are already spoiled, expired. So the inspection aspect of these batteries that come out from outside has to be very strong. And secondly, we will have accumulation of used batteries and used solar panels. Solution has to be found at the end of the day, because this accumulation of these instruments or sources of energy in panels and batteries could be very dangerous for the environment, and we need to develop capacity in making the importation to be very healthy, and the inspection capacity of the sector has to be developed. So we are for diversification of sources of energy, and since we are part of the East Africa Rift system, there is a potential for us to develop geothermal energy. Preliminary feasibility study, pre-feasibility study was conducted, but still we have not gone for developing this area also. This is also important. We have identified where we can use wind power, particularly in the southern Red Sea part of our, where there is this jet effect in the Gulf of Aden. So this could be tapped because the wind is very high there, and we have also identified areas where we can develop wind energy in the country. This is also an area we can exploit, but finance is of the essence, and development of capacity also is something we have to work on. Thank you.
Mic number 13, thanks.
Thank you. Concerning the question raised from the distinguished delegate from Czech Republic with regard to capacity building that have been carried out, I think we have mentioned in the statement that about 40, since the preparation of the BR, about 14 experts from different sectors have been enrolled in the 2006 IPC guidelines, specifically for the GHG inventory, specifically on affluent, energy, and waste. Moreover, we have also trained experts in the review process of national communications and the BRs of Annex 1 countries. And one of them have already participated and reviewed Bulgaria's national communication. Is it BR or not? BR, sorry. So, I mean, yeah, the training is, you know, we cannot stop there. We will continue the capacity building, but we have already started. And the other question that came from the distinguished delegate from South Africa regarding the experience on the technical analysis. Yes, I mean, it's our first time that we prepare the biennial update report. And we have been receiving so many, you know, comments, questions, and we understand that we had, you know, the limitations. And then that will definitely assist us in improving our future, you know, reports. So it was a good experience for us. And the second question was with regard to the regional CBIT project. I think as we indicated, we're just initiating. It's a regional project that is supported by COMESA as well as the Conservation International. And we have already organized 2 meetings, workshops, and we participated also in the regional. And we have already identified the needs for the capacity building, and we believe that by the first quarter of 2024, we'll start the actual, you know, capacity building activities. I think these are the questions, and we hope we have addressed them. But if there are any additional questions, you can post them on the web so that we can respond.
Thank you, Eritrea. And I have the last speakers on my list. Have Canada, number 36.
Thank you. Congratulations, Eritrea, for your first BUR. I may be building on the question from South Africa. In your presentation, you highlighted the 15 capacity building needs from developing your BUR and steps you've taken for implementing the ETF. Perhaps beyond the CBIT project you identified, can you share some of the lessons learned from accessing training for implementing your ETF transition? Thank you.
Thank you, Canada. Now I'll give the floor to New Zealand, number 33.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Eritrea, for your presentation, and congratulations on submitting your first BUR. In your report and presentation, you discussed mitigation actions in the forestry sector. New Zealand is interested to hear more details on the co-benefits that you receive from forestry mitigation actions, and what steps do you take to maximise these benefits? Thank you.
Thank you, New Zealand. Now recognize the United Kingdom, number 23.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Eritrea, for your presentation, and congratulations on your first biannual update report. As part of your reforestation efforts, you mentioned in your report that you are working with local communities to plant trees and produce sustainable local crops. Can you share how you've engaged with these communities and how these efforts are going?
Thank you, United Kingdom. And last on my list is Republic of Korea, number 76.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Eritrea, for your informative presentation on your first biennial update report. In your presentation, you mentioned developing network communication with the national institutions as a way to improve in reporting on mitigation actions and their effects. Could you share with us about any challenge facing or lessons learned while taking this measure? Thank you.
Thank you, Korea. And now we'll give a brief moment for Eritrea to prepare the answers. Mic number 13.
Thank you so much for the question from the distinguished delegate from Canada. Yes, we had, before the BIA, but now, you know, there are initiatives which we have not capitalized them, specifically from the GSP program, but yet we are, you know, to make use of the opportunity apart from the CBIT that we have mentioned. And with the question from the distinguished delegate from New Zealand concerning the co-benefit from the forestry, as we have indicated in our statement, Eritrea is among the least GHG emitter. And, you know, whatever we do in terms of ecosystem restoration, including the afforestation, we believe they have, you know, a co-benefit of, you know, restoring the environment. We have the experience. Specifically with the national protected area of the southern and northern Red Sea. We had also, you know, the community-based afforestation and reforestation programs, and we could see how, you know, a microenvironment could be turned into conducive, where you regenerate the indigenous trees, where you capture enrich the groundwater and protect the erosion. These are some of the benefits, the co-benefits that we have observed in terms of the afforestation program. Mike, with regard,
Number 10, please.
Okay, thank you. To start with the co-benefit, as I have said earlier, the problem we have in Eritrea is the interrelated problem of this desertification, land degradation, and biodiversity. To address this issue, the strategy or the policy is integrated watershed management approach. This includes, in the upper catchment, the afforestation and the enclosure activities, and on the agricultural land, the in-situ soil and water conservation activities, including these agronomic measures and the physical measures of soil and water conservation. In the downstream, we construct dams and irrigation development. So, to address the issue of land degradation, the afforestation program can help us as a co-benefit for addressing the land degradation and for the deforestation. By this integrated approach, we do have this co-benefit. On the practical practice, how do we mobilize the community? The communities are well organized to participate in the campaign for the construction of the soil and water conservation infrastructures, as well as tree seedling plantation activities in organized manner by the local governments. So, and as I said earlier also, there is a campaign by students who participate during their summer program in tree plantation. This is a way how we organize the afforestation and soil and water conservation programs conducted in our country. Thank you.
Mic number 13.
Okay, thank you, Chair. And thank you for the distinguished delegate from Korea for raising the question regarding the challenges in terms of data collection from the relevant institutions. I think we have indicated earlier that we had limitations, let alone in the line ministry, even within the ministry. So we have already developed now the updated information management system within the ministry. And previously we had problems in terms of the understanding of the line ministries and vis-a-vis the information they communicate. So with the data reliability, we had a problem in terms of data archiving. So bearing in mind this challenge, we are working to improve the data and information management system within our stakeholders. So these are the challenges that we can share with you. Thank you.